Hi, and thanks for joining me for another ball review. This one is for the Storm AstroPhysiX. I have a couple surprises for this one. I filmed on a different sport pattern at each center. Here at Westridge, we're on Kegel's Sphinx. The numbers are similar to the house pattern with, of course, the exception of the ratio. This is quite a bit flatter, more difficult than the house shot. Links to both pattern graphs are in the description. Also, I'm sure you've noticed by now, but the visual quality is much improved because I got a new camera that has quite a bit higher bit rate, so the picture is super clean and crisp now. My layout's the same as it's been for the last several, with a little tweak of the pin distance, 45 by 4 5/8 by 70, just a little bit stronger pin than normal. I did follow the same format I've been using where I play second, third, and then fourth arrow to give you a look at how the ball plays from different angles. Now, as you'll see, playing right with shiny stuff isn't the smartest thing to do on either of these patterns, so there's a little lane play to learn here as well. The Astro looked as good as I could hope for at second arrow, most of that being due to the cover type, which is a big point to make here. The physics, the original, is NRG Hybrid, which is a really strong, early, and smooth cover formula. The Astro features R2S Pearl, which is pretty well the opposite of NRG. It's clean all the way down the lane, and it Storm's most responsive cover to friction, so it ends up being a great complement to the physics, something I likely wouldn't have been able to say had it been NRG Pearl instead. I was able to stay slower and roll it despite the straighter angle, and that's due in large part to how clean the cover is. Now, as I move in here, you can see that I'm both more comfortable playing deeper, and it's a much more appropriate place to play this pattern anyway. In a tournament or any situation where I was trying to score, I'd have likely been through the Halo physics and possibly the Phase 2 before the track got developed enough to go with something shiny, but I had a pretty good look across the board on Sphinx with the Astro. I had more mist room inside than I did outside, but with higher volumes of oil outside and a shiny cover, that's not really surprising. Now, when comparing to both the physics and intense fire, playing straight was a nightmare with both of them. With NRG Hybrid on the physics and R3S Hybrid on the fire, they're both quite a bit stronger than the Astro, which made the straighter angles really tough. If I got left at all, they were digging in and moving, and a bit too far to the right, and there's enough oil out there to make anything hang. Now, once I was able to move in, it got better, but I wasn't truly comfortable with either of them until I got into fourth arrow. The Astro is much more controllable and throwable strength. There's quite a bit of torque in that atomic core at the break point, but the cover really helps it breeze through the fronts and save all that power for the back part of the lane. Now on to Gage and Kegel Turnpike. Turnpike's numbers aren't all that different from either Sphinx or the house pattern, but there's quite a bit more reverse oil than on Sphinx, which is going to make it tighter down lane, in addition to the lanes being a bit lower friction than Westridge. This made things flip. It was much more difficult to play straighter here with the Astro as I got too much length. It'd still move if I didn't give it enough room, but conversely, just a tiny bit right, and there just wasn't any help. Again, I think you can see that this is a pretty awful game plan on this pattern from this angle with this ball. It's just not a formula for success. I burned a lot of video here. But once I moved in, it opened up and my swing got more loose. Now, with the higher volume and lower friction, I was able to stay slow and roll it more than on Sphinx, so once I got comfortable, there were a lot more strikes. Now, going back to the cover stock, initially I was being a hipster. I expected we'd be getting a Pearl Physics sooner or later, but I was really hoping for NRG Pearl. I just really love the NRG cover period, so when I found out the Astro was R2S Pearl, I was a bit disappointed. However, and this is a big however, once I slowed down and thought about it, this was the smartest decision for several reasons. For one, as Chad McLean, Storm's technical director, put it, the NRG formula kind of fights against itself in Pearl form. Strong, early, and smooth isn't really what you want in a Pearl. That's what solids are for. And if it had in fact been NRG Pearl on this ball, it very well could have been even earlier and smoother than the physics, which again is something you want in a Pearl complement to a hybrid or a solid. By using R2S Pearl, we are getting a true complement to the physics, a ball that's a lot easier down the lane, quicker on the back end, and perhaps the biggest point to make here is that this makes it very similar to the Code Black, which has been really missed by a lot of people. If you're one of them, you should be paying attention here. For me, the Astro is a bit longer and sharper, but still very reminiscent of the CB. Moving to the physics and intense fire, with less friction, the physics gave me as good of a look here as I had at Westridge with the Astro, and that was what I expected. A couple of games of track burn-in and the Astro would have looked better, but that's what it was built for, a step down or a complement once you have some friction to work with. Now, due to the shiny cover, the fire was still a little tough from second arrow, but it looked really good once I got deeper. Overall, I'm a big fan of the Astro. It's kind of a can't-miss reaction. R2S has been a company staple for over a decade. It's easy to see why. Maybe you were hoping for something more exotic like I was initially, but with the familiarity we all have with this cover by now, it should give you a lot of confidence in going to buy this ball, especially given the similarity to the Code Black. The AstroPhysiX is a triple threat. It looks great, smells great, rolls great, and it releases on June 21st. Thanks for watching.